Braxcast time once again. Highlight of my week, highlight of yours too. This is our 11th episode, and we're going to be diving into a good bit of stuff. But I got the logo here all laminated, so we're increasing the production value slowly but surely. My flash has got a little reflection there, but it should be okay. So it can't be the best, but we've got a couple things to talk about. Just in terms of the news of the Rippaverse, it's mostly related to the Yaira campaign, I would say. But we've got this one thing that's general company news: better shipping rates. So if you live in Canada, Australia, or the United Kingdom, and you're just buying books, you get to enjoy these shipping rates that could be $8.50, $12, and $7 respectively, depending on the countries that you live in. So the way Rippa was talking about this in the announcement video for this was that when these books hit the Evergreen store, or when this policy is applying to books you buy from the Evergreen store twice a month, you'll get to enjoy these shipments. So it will take a little bit longer if you're in Canada, Australia, or United Kingdom to get the books shipped out to you when you buy these books, but you're going to be paying less because it's going to be bundled as freight with other things. If you don't want to wait for the product, you can order it and they'll ship it to you directly for like a DHL or a UPS. I'm not sure if they do international shipments where they're just shipping it to you internationally, singularly, but of course it has to go for customs. You're paying a lot more money. But with this seems to be bundled as freight with other books, and it's just applying to books. You get to enjoy these cheaper shipping rates, but they'll only ship 2 times a month. And of course, this could expand to other countries. This could they could be able to drive the costs lower more and more. But the bigger long-term thing is to get warehousing operations for different parts of the world. Like there's a Rippaverse warehouse Europe. There's one for Australia, and I guess Oceania, one for Asia, but they're not quite there yet. So they still have to do deals with bigger logistic companies. And I imagine this is what they were able to get. So Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom will enjoy these lower shipping rates. It'll take a little bit longer for you to get your product if you go for this than the other things, but it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to go through the customs and duties and pay duties and all these sorts of all the sort of nonsense when you're buying stuff internationally. So that will be a great thing for customers of Rippaverse in these regions. Pay less for shipping, which was one of the biggest complaints of the Rippaverse, I would say, for its entirety, is the international shipping costs, especially. But shipping costs in general, people will always not like to have to pay shipping. But internationally, a lot of people had to really get fleeced to get their books shipped out to them, and that's just the nature of the beast when you're shipping low volume internationally, and a low volume compared to like an Amazon, or compared to China shipping stuff by the boatload to people. If you're shipping out just a couple thousand books internationally through a service like DHL, they're going to charge you a lot, and it's going to be a bit of an inconvenience for other countries because there's customs and all this nonsense that people have to go through. But also with shipping, with the pre-order campaign, we've got Yaira. It's 1.36 million. I didn't check the numbers, my apologies, but it's definitely doing well, and we're really gearing up towards the fulfillment process of this campaign. So we'll get that over here, get the Braxcast logo back, looking nice and pretty, being laminated. But we've got May 17th is the cutoff date. May 17th at noon CST, Central Standard Time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. I can't name any other time zone, so you're going to just have to do the math. May 17th, 12 p.m., that's noon, Central Standard Time is when you need to have your address finalized. That's when they're going to start getting orders ready to ship, have the final shipping labels printed out. So if you've moved, you're going to have to put in a ticket with Rippaverse support to make sure that they know that your address is changed, so that way they can ship it to the right address. And of course, if you're like in Pennsylvania and then you move to Oklahoma, which is a lot closer to Texas, you'll probably pay less. If you move somewhere else, you might pay more. They'll have to figure out the discrepancy. But Make sure that your address is all correct on all your orders. You've got until the 17th of May at noon to make sure all that goes through. Most likely, what's going to happen is fulfillment will begin a week after that, or maybe that next Monday. I think I'm not sure if the 17th is Monday or not, but it's going to be towards the end of May, I would imagine. So it could be that following Monday. I think it's Monday. But regardless, 17th of May. That's when you have to get all your that's when you have to get all of your orders ready. Could be it's going to be coming soon. Yaira fulfillment. So stuff is going to start fulfilling. Campaign is going to end, and then we're going to be moving on into Gunning very soon. So this is a very exciting time to be a fan of the Rippaverse because Yaira 1's almost fulfilled. You can go to rippaverse.com. Link will be in the description. If you haven't gotten in on Yaira yet and you want to, still plenty of time to do so within that campaign window. But if you already have your orders and you moved, make sure that you get your address changed because shipping is going to be beginning soon, and you've only got until the 17th to make sure that the addresses that they have on file where they're going to send it to you are a-okay to send to you, and you actually get the books that you paid for. So with that out of the way, it's very exciting. Again, we're heading into the end stage of this campaign, and we're going to be in like a new era of the Rippaverse, moving away from the campaign format, moving towards bigger and better things, as especially from a lore perspective. Like I think a lot of the reverse is going to really open up after Ice and Free, but I could get into that all day. What I wanted to talk about as the second topic for this Braxcast here is about video games. So I talked before one of the very early episodes of the Braxcast of a game that I would like to see. Something like a AAA God of War experience playing as Yaira. Very much a high quality AAA experience, and that's really a ways away in terms of them being able to do that independently and fund it themselves, and also getting all the necessary infrastructure like motion capture is ridiculously expensive to have. Not just the equipment, the people who know how to use it, the space to use it effectively, all these other special effects that go along with making motion capture work. So stuff like that is really expensive, and you want a good quality AAA experience, you need to have all of that, and that's going to really rack up the bottom line really quickly. So I don't think they're ready for that, but people love games. A lot of comic book people are gamers as well, want to play all sorts of games, want to play a Rippaverse game, and of course they want to make a Rippaverse game. And it goes, well, what games could Rippaverse Studios make without having to absolutely break the bank? And I think one of the best games that they could make is a fighting game like Street Fighter 2 Turbo, something that could run on the SNES or the Sega Genesis, or have the look that it could. A nice, simple 16-bit game that takes the characters from the first two set of Dokumon cards. So you get 24 or so characters to play as. Of course, you can play like Isom, Yaira, Brian Solari, Braxwell. Of course, you have to be able to play as Braxwell in a good classic, retro style 16-bit fighting game that would have simple multiplayer attached to it as well. You could build a community with that. I think that would be a really great game to make. It wouldn't be that expensive. People would absolutely love it. I'm not the biggest fighting game guy. It's not really my big cup of tea, but I know lots of people love fighting games, and it definitely wouldn't be a really expensive thing for them to make, and would be very actively engaging to play. So I think a Rippaverse fighting game would be something that would really pique my interest. Just in terms of what they would do, the move sets. I would probably go and buy it just as a super fan of the Rippaverse. I think that would be a great game for them to make. And another game in that vein, one that I would like to play even more, is something like a beat 'em up game. So you've got games like Double Dragon, beat 'em up games where it's side scrolling. You just have guys come at you, and you just basically punch, kick, use a lot of fighting game moves, but you're progressing through stages and such like that. And again, you could make this in a retro style. Would not be that expensive. It would be like great to have like some scenes in Isom for the ill-advised dark. Especially like the end of Isom 2 would be really fun to play through in a beat 'em up style. And of course, you could have some stuff in Club Merc, all these sorts of things. So you could have a good bit of fun making a Rippaverse beat 'em up game, making an Isom beat 'em up game. And again, it wouldn't cost you all that much money. You can make it in a retro style. You're not going to have to do mocap or complicated animations or um, you know all these cut scenes that have these like movie production budgets attached to them. So it would be a very easy thing to do. Relative to AAA game development, I think it would be great fun, and it would be again a nice retro thing, and people love the retro stuff. I certainly love the retro stuff. So a Rippaverse beat 'em up game, Rippaverse fighting game. Another thing with the reveal of the Salvage. So we haven't read Salvage's initial story yet. That's a 13-page short story written by Eric July, art done by Bart Sears, if I'm getting the name correctly. And that's going to be in the first issue of the Ripazine. But we know he's a private investigator in Forest Park. And again, a private investigator, a point-and-click adventure game that's got like a mystery twang to it. So, something like the original Alone in the Dark. As a classic point-and-click adventure game, it wouldn't be the most stimulating game gameplay-wise, but I think it would be a really cool thing to do. You could really play into Salvage's character as a PI with something like that. So I think again, doing it in a retro style, an older style of game would be a lot easier to develop. It would be a great thing. And again, I would only go ahead and make a Salvage PI game if we all read the Ripazine and we actually like Salvage PI. If we read the Ripazine and most people are like, "Oh, this character is a bit boring," then don't make the point and click adventure game about Salvage. You could do it about Gooding as well, but there might be other games starring Gooding that are other game genres that would be a bit more fitting to Gooding. You could have like a strategy game. You could have like a tower defense game, as well as so many possibilities with all the characters just we have already. Not to mention everything that's coming down the pipeline. But the last type of game that I was thinking of would be a Metroidvania style of game. So you've got something like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I think the Metroid on the Super Nintendo, I think it's Super Metroid, if I've got it correctly. Something like that, where it's side scrolling, you're going through all these dungeons and stuff. Dead Cells is a great modern example of this. And you could have it be, starring Bloodroof. In Bloodroofs, I don't have the art ready to available to show of that first page that we have that Michael Montagne has drawn and that we know has been revealed to us. But she's going through a castle. She's got all this ability to spelunk through dungeons and castles and stuff. That's what her character basically allows to set those scenes really well. So I think that would be a fantastic thing to do. Would be a Blood Roof game that's Metroidvania inspired. Again, you could do the 16-bit retro style. You could do some basic 3D stuff like Symphony Blood. I think Bloodstained. Bloodstained. I forget if it has a subtitle, but Bloodstained. I think it was Koji Igarashi, who did Symphony of the Night. So that's his style of game that he's known for. Did this game called Bloodstained, and the main character Miriam, the game uses 3D assets, 3D assets, but it's not a 16-bit. It doesn't use pixel sprites. It uses 3D assets, and you could do that very well with a Bloodroof game in that same Metroidvania genre. And I think that would be really fun. People love Metroidvania type of games. People love Bloodroof. It would be a match made in heaven, maybe hell. That's more apt to her character, right? But it would be a great game to make. And again, you wouldn't have to break the bank because you're not making this big, grandiose AAA experience. It doesn't have to be always online. Doesn't have to. Well, I don't think any game has to be always online unless it's only multiplayer. But again, you wouldn't have to, make it be a multiplayer game. It'd just be a nice single-player game that's side-scrolling, very simple to make. Again, in comparison to these big AAA games like like a action MMORPG, which is what Rippa talks about when he talks about wanting to make a game. Something that has all the mechanics and strategy and character building aspects of an MMORPG, but actually has a combat system that's engaging, simulating, and one where you not only want to play it, but there's a way to play it that can make you better, and also it isn't just like button mashing and like pressing like a one or a two and having your spell cast and waiting for it to recharge. So the MMO RPGs fall into this like very grindy um, loop with their combat where you're just mashing buttons and you're just waiting for stuff to recharge. It's not nearly as dynamic as people who like to play action games. Think of like Platinum games, Bayonetta, Nier, now Stellar Blade, which I've been playing, is very much more this action game that engages in a combat sense. Babylon's Fall, people really liked that game because it was a four-player multiplayer game that had these action this action combat system attached to it rather than a more traditional grindy MMORPG one, which would be more typical for a game like that. That's the game I think Rippa wants to make, but again, doing servers and having all the animation work and making it not only look good but play good, that takes a lot of resources and time and effort to do. So to do sprite-based games, to do side scrollers, to do stuff that could be on consoles from like 30 years ago would be much easier to do, and you wouldn't have to sacrifice quality in terms of them being good games for what they are. They definitely would be great games. It would very much so be indie games, but they could give people a taste of Rippaverse Studios as a game developer, and they could also just scratch the itch of people who want Rippaverse games to play, which I would say I am a part of, and I would definitely love to play like a Metroidvania type of game, like a Bloodroof Metroidvania type of game. Like I'm there day one, and I would love to play that game. Right? It wouldn't be like the Yaira triple A game, like think of like you got Batman Arkham Knight, you got God of War, something where it's that engaging of an open world or open environment sort of experience, especially as Yaira, where you could just fly around, have this like 40-hour triple A experience with Yaira, in that sort of graphical quality. We're a ways off from that, I would say, but we're not really a ways off from them being able to greenlight making a Bloodroof Metroidvania game or making an Ice of Beat 'em Up game. And those games would be great to play. They would be absolute fun to play. And they wouldn't break the bank to develop, and they wouldn't break the bank for you, the customer, to buy, which is why I think Rippaverse Studios should 100% do that. But with that, that's all I've had for this Braxcast 11th episode. I laminated this. It's going to look better. You got that reflection. I'll try and resolve all of this. But again, it's an ever-improving experience here at the Braxcast and Velvet Room Publishing, so be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.